Hi, in this video I'm going to share 10 speaking activities you can do in your world language classes. Hey, it's Ashley, aka Senorita Spanish, where I provide easy-to-use resources to save you time and energy while you're lesson planning. If you're new here, I just want to make sure you know that links to everything that I mentioned in this video will be down in the description box below. Okay, we are going to talk about speaking activities in your world language classes. Specifically, I'm going to be giving you examples and ideas from my Spanish classes, but I know that there's a lot of overlap here, so that's why I titled it World Language Classes, because you can steal these ideas and use them in your French class, in your German classes, Italian, and whatever else. So let's get right into them. The first idea I have for you is weekend chat, and this is my start of class routine for Mondays, but also the way I like to wrap up class on Fridays. I have a whole video where I detail exactly how I use weekend chat. It's a great way to get your kids speaking because they are talking about what they did all weekend. The next idea I have for you is running dictation, and this is a little bit different when it comes to a speaking activity because it's not them outputting their own info. If you haven't done a running dictation before, I do have a video where I detail exactly how to play and how to set it up, but the speaking part of this is the dictation, right? So students are gonna read a short phrase in the target language, and then they're gonna go back to their partner and they're gonna say it out loud. This is where the speaking comes in. Another option for speaking practice with our students is reverse running dictation, which, as the name suggests, is very similar to running dictation. It's just got a little twist on it. And it's very similar in the speaking practice style where the students are not coming up with the language out of their own heads. It's something that they have given to them as part of the activity, and they're going to say it out loud to their partners. The fourth speaking activity that I have for you is two truths and a lie, and this is something that I love to do with weekend chat. So as you might guess from the name of this activity, students say two things that are true and one thing that is a lie. And the way you play this game is they'll say all three things out loud, and the people they're playing with, whether you're playing it as a whole class or small groups or even in pairs, the other person or people are going to listen and try and identify which thing is false. And they're going to identify what is the lie, and hopefully it's not that they brush their teeth, right? So you could do this with a whole bunch of different units, right? And this is one of those ones where they are coming up with the language from their own heads, but you can scaffold it in different ways to support them as well. Okay, the fifth activity that is a speaking activity is kind of similar, and this one is from La Libre Language Learning, and I'll make sure to link to her down below. It is called Blob, and it's kind of a funny game. So students are going to either come up with a statement or come up with a phrase, right? Let's just give it another example for in a unit. Like if you were doing your hobbies and activities and pastime units, one student's phrase might be, I like to read. And then they're going to go and they're going to ask each other, right, ¿Qué te gusta hacer? And when they find somebody who has the same sentence as them, they are now forming their own little blob. And that's going to keep happening. So once they form their own little blob, they're going to go up to another student or pair of students, and they're going to ask the question. And if they have the matching answer, they're going to get a bigger blob. And this is going to keep happening until you have distinct blobs in the classroom, and ideally none of the blobs should be the same, right? So this blob might be I like to play video games, and this blob might be I like to play music or listen to music, but none of the blobs should have the same answer. The next speaking activity is one of my all-time favorites. It's called Find Someone Who, but it also is sometimes called Human Bingo, and basically what it is you have a sheet with a grid of questions, and you're just gonna walk around and you're gonna ask questions like, do you like strawberries? And if somebody says yes, then they're gonna sign their name, and you're gonna keep going until you found somebody who says yes to each of the questions. And you can set this up in a couple of different ways, right? The questions are all gonna be related to your unit, but you could also have them ask a follow-up question like, do you like to eat strawberries? Yes or no? Oh, what do you like to eat strawberries with? Like, do you like to eat them on ice cream? Do you like to eat them with yogurt? That's a great way to kind of up-level this for higher level classes. Another option for speaking activities are conversation cards, and these are one of my favorites because they're just so low prep and they're really easy. They're just little cards with conversation starters on them. I usually have them be questions in the target language, but they could also be things like would you rather sort of questions, or either or if you had to pick, which one would you pick? That kind of thing. I usually theme them by whatever it is the topic that we're working on, and these are great because you can use them for warm-up, you can use them for a fast finisher. The next speaking activity is speed dating. only I don't usually call it speed dating with my classes, but that's the setup, right? They're in pairs, we've got a timer, they're talking, and when the timer beeps, they rotate. And I might do this with like a list of questions where they're gonna ask their partner any one of those questions. I might have like a sample conversation, or just, you know, maybe they all have a set of conversation cards. My friend Erin over at the Engaged Spanish Classroom has a very structured setup. She calls these citas cortas, and I will make sure to link to her blog post in the description box below where she explains how she sets this up for her students. The next speaking activity I'd like to share with you is the ball game. The ball game is super low prep. It's one of my favorite fast finishers, and I have a video where I explain exactly how to play it right here with all my rules and expectations, because anytime, in my opinion, you release a ball into your classes, you have to make sure the expectations are clear. So make sure you check that out. But the way that I do this as a speaking activity is I just put a question up on the screen like ¿Qué te gusta hacer? And they're just gonna take turns asking and answering that question as the ball is passed around the room. The next speaking activity I have to share with you is special person interviews. I love this routine. I've mentioned it before in my routines video that I'll share for you here, but basically special person interviews where you take one student and you put them in front of the class and then you interview them. So that one student does get a lot of speaking practice during this time, although there are a ton of scaffolded supports on the screen for them, depending on where we are in the school year and what their levels are. Sometimes I'm even helping them with the pronunciation, helping them with their options, just giving them as much support as they need. The next speaking activity I have for you is also from the Engaged Spanish Classroom. It's one of my all-time favorites. It is so fun, and if you have not played it before, you have to try it. It is called Sonidos Secretos, and seriously, if you haven't done this, you need to play it. The students love it. So they play in pairs, and one student is gonna put in their headphones or their earbuds, and they're gonna turn on some music of their choice, right? Huge win. They get to listen to music, and they're gonna turn it up loud enough that they can't really hear their partner, but not so loud that they're damaging their hearing, because teacher mom, right? Then the other student is going to draw a card and they're going to read a sentence in the target language. And this sentence, where it depends on which set you're doing, you're probably gonna do something associated with the unit that you're on, but they're gonna read it to their class, and it might just be like, me gusta la pizza. And the other person who's got their headphones in and cannot hear them is looking at their mouth, and they're trying to get them to guess what sentence is on their card. And if they get it right, they write down, they get a point, that kind of thing. It is so much fun. Again, I'll link to her blog post explaining how to play it down in the description box below. That would be probably my #1 recommendation. There you have it, some speaking activities you can use with your world language classes. Like I said, I will link to everything down in the description box below, but I want to know, did I miss any of your favorite speaking activities? Comment below and let me know if there's anything that I should have added to this list that I didn't. All right? Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you loved this video. Make sure to share it with a Spanish teacher friend who might also love it. Bye!